Greetings, fellow gorehounds, and welcome back to a blood-splattered vlog. I'm the Horror Guru.
And I'm Count Jacula.
And today we're going to talk about The Woman in the Yard, directed by Wame Colette Serra, who directed a bunch of movies, but relevant to today's discussion, he is the director of Orphan and The Shallows. So, The Woman in the Yard is a very post-Babadook, post-Smile movie.
Yes.
It's a depression monster movie.
Yes.
The movie is about a woman named Ramona who lives on a farm, is a mother of two, and is dealing with crippling depression with a broken leg following the accidental death of her husband. So she one day discovers that a woman has appeared in her yard. It is a woman that is just sitting in a chair in like a black veil, almost like she's attending a funeral.
Yeah.
It's very unclear what the woman's intentions are, and over the course of one night, the woman gets closer and closer and closer. And it also becomes clear that the woman can control shadows.
Yeah.
Which it uses to its advantage to do many things, such as potentially killing the dog. So warning to all of you out there if dog deaths are a problem. So it is up to Ramona to try to save her two kids from this creature before it ends up killing everyone in the house before the end of the night, before morning. In other words.
Yeah.
The creature is very much a manifestation of her depression and other mental illnesses.
Yeah.
The movie makes no bones about that. It's very much her struggling with her own depression in the form of this creature. But it is clear that the other characters interact with it. So it is a thing that other people are dealing with.
It is. She's not just imagining it. There is actually a monster.
I have noticed that the reception to this movie was pretty negative, and having seen it, I understand why, but I also think it's not entirely fair. I think the movie is overall a solid movie.
Oh, yeah.
But it has a very bleak ending that's somewhat ambiguous, but we'll talk more about that in the spoiler section. But the bleakness of that ending, I think, leaves a sour note in a lot of viewers' minds when they leave the movie.
Yeah. We could talk about that more when we get there.
It is a movie that comes to conclusions that you probably would not want to see in a more happier movie. But given that this is a horrific horror movie, I was okay with it.
Yeah.
I was okay with it, especially given the way the journey of this movie takes
about
place.
Terrible things.
Yes. The other thing that I really liked about this movie, besides watching the character go through this journey and this struggle, is I also liked the actual effects of the shadow attacks.
Yeah. That was real clever.
That was actually pretty impressive, watching the way the shadows would affect things, and it's knocking over vases and stuff, and you watch the vase knock over. I thought that was all handled very well. That being said, it's not a particularly gory movie, so if you're in it for the splatter, that's not the kind of movie this is.
That ain't this kind of flick.
I thought all the performances were pretty solid. Everyone does a really good job. I love the kid that plays the eldest son.
Yes.
Who's constantly at odds with the mom, because the mom constantly is not really addressing the elephant in the room, which is the woman.
Right.
She's trying to ignore it and hoping it will go away by morning.
Yeah.
But the kid's constantly there's a woman in our fucking yard. She won't leave. She's threatening you. And I think she killed the dog. We should get the shotgun and go out there and tell her to leave.
Yeah. Like a kid probably would be in this situation, very fucking alert, very on point, but is basically being sabotaged by his mom.
Yeah.
Even when he is 100% inarguably right.
Because he's not just doing it out of some sort of ego trip. He's trying to protect his little sister. You know?
Yeah. He's literally trying to protect the family. You know?
Exactly. And he's watching his mom just kind of wallow in her own depression and trying to avoid the problem.
Yeah.
And to some extent, some of it's not entirely because she's directly avoiding it. Some of it's because she can't actually call the cops because her phone's dead, because she spent all night watching old videos of her husband on it.
Yeah.
And then the power went out. So she
can't recharge.
She can't recharge, but she also doesn't tell the son that.
Yeah.
So he's frustrated because he's not even getting all the information, because she's withholding stuff, trying to protect him from things, but it's not really clear exactly what she's protecting him from.
Yeah.
Most of the time. It really feels like it's the guise of protecting him, but she's really protecting herself from having to do anything.
Yeah. Because what she's really exhibiting is can't fucking deal with the responsibility of being wrong or having done something wrong.
There's a lot of that.
Yeah.
For sure. There's a lot of avoidance.
It was a huge amount of avoidance.
Responsibility and, like, culpability.
Yeah. Especially when you get into, like, the story of the relationship between her and this dead father.
Yeah, we'll talk more about that in the spoiler section, because that's, like, later movie stuff.
Yeah.
When they start actually going into, like, the flashbacks of what happened leading up to that night.
Yeah, because you know that they got a dead dad, and it hasn't been all that long since he died, since her leg is a result of the accident that killed him.
Yeah, so you can assume it's some sort of car accident, but like what led up to that car accident and all that stuff, you're not in the know until later in the movie.
Yeah.
There's also like a weird thing in the movie where like the creature like exists in two different dimensions. There's like the mirror dimension, and then there's reality. And in the mirror dimension, you can tell if you're in that dimension if like the words are backwards, like in a mirror. So like there's points in the movie where the character's like wandering through the house and all reality has broken down and trying to figure out, am I in the present? Am I in the past? Am I in the future? And the only clue she has is if she finds something that's written backwards.
Yeah.
Or if she runs into someone who's clearly dead like her husband.
Yeah. And this is where the metaphor of like really deep mental illness like comes in, because a lot of people who are like that mentally ill kind of exist in this inverted reality.
One thing that really struck me with this movie was that in the example of something like the Babadook, right?
Yeah.
A lot of your sympathy in the Babadook is for the mom in that equation.
Oh yeah.
Like the kid is not being able to deal with its grief, so it's acting out in this like hysterical way that's driving the mom insane. And so you're kind of in the headspace of the mom. And even though this movie does put you in the mom's headspace, I did find myself more in the headspace of the two kids.
Yes. Yeah, you're supposed to. You're supposed to.
You know, where the two kids are dealing with not only the weird creature in the yard that's threatening them, as well as the mom inside the house that's ignoring the problem.
Yes.
And the kids are desperately like, but there's a fucking monster in the corner. We gotta do something.
Yeah. And that's also one of the things that like kind of separates it from the Babadook. And the Babadook, what the problem is it's very acute.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, oh, okay, it's this one traumatic event that they're really having fucking problems dealing with. The mom may have like other mental health issues, but she's basically okay, except for this horrible thing that has happened.
Yeah.
In The Woman in the Yard,
it's deeper than that.
It's deeper than that.
Yeah. It goes back further.
Yeah.
Than just the one incident.
Yeah.
So yeah, The Woman in the Yard is not a movie I would recommend to someone who's personally dealing with a lot of heavy depression.
Suicidal ideation.
Ideation. If you're dealing with any sort of suicidal ideation, I would avoid this movie like the plague. Even though I do think it's very good, I don't think it'll be the right movie for a certain person in the wrong headspace.
Yeah.
And so with that said, my fellow gorehounds, we're going to move on to the spoiler section, because there's a lot of stuff that we're trying to talk around right now that I feel like we really need to dig into in order to actually discuss this movie. So we're going to move on to the spoiler section. The Woman in the Yard is currently available on various streaming platforms. Pick your poison and enjoy. And with that said, let us move on to the spoilers.
The first and primary mystery is, who is this woman? It is her.
It is 100% her. As the creature itself tells her, you summoned me.
Yeah.
You summoned me when you were praying for the strength.
Yeah.
And there's this whole exchange of like the strength to do what? The main character, Ramona's response is the strength to survive past my husband's death. And as the woman points out, no. That's not why you summoned me.
Yeah.
You summoned me so that you had the strength to end your own life.
Yeah, to let go of your children so that you could kill yourself.
Yep. And this is a revelation that happens after the movie starts to go into the past between her and her husband. And it's very clear that before her husband died, she was already dealing with severe mental health problems.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
She was completely unhappy with the life that they had built together and wanted out of it.
Yeah.
But it's the life that they had built.
Yeah. It's the life that they had built.
But it's very clear that the reason why the argument happened, the reason why they ended up getting on that road in the middle of that storm and all that stuff, was because of her own unhappiness with her place in this household, in this life.
Yeah.
Even though it was the thing she wanted.
Yeah.
It was
yeah.
the thing that they had talked about, that they had planned, and they executed. And now that they're in it, now that they're making it work, she is self-sabotaging it. She's actually partially responsible for the accident that ends up happening that leads to her husband dying, something she doesn't really admit until the movie shows us it.
Yeah.
Later on in the movie. Even before the husband died, she struggled with being a parent to these kids.
Yes. Yeah.
And now that the husband's dead, there is no safety net for her in being a parent for these kids because the dad's not there to pick up the slack.
Yeah.
Babadook is a nice companion piece to this because in the Babadook, she's actively trying.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
there's barriers that keep getting in front of her, some mental and some other things.
Yeah.
But she's actively trying. This mom has pretty much given up when the movie opens.
Oh, yeah.
The only thing that even remotely keeps her going is trying to keep her kids alive. But by the end of this movie, she comes to the conclusion that the kids would actually be better off without her and without
Yeah.
this monster constantly looming over them for the rest of their lives.
Yes.
And so this is what we mean when we say this movie has a very bleak ending. Because the movie leads up to her letting the kids escape from the house while she and the creature commit suicide.
Yeah.
Now, the movie has a bit of an ambiguous ending here because she does it, and then it cuts to her walking out of the barn, and her family's there waiting for her, and they go inside the house, and it's like, oh, it's a happy ending. She didn't kill herself, turns
Right.
out. But then it like goes into the room with all her paintings that she's done and zooms in on her name being backwards on the painting.
Yeah, yeah.
Showing that she's actually in the mirror universe. The implication to me is she actually did kill herself and give in to the monster.
Yeah, yeah.
And this actually isn't the happy ending that it's pretending to be.
Yeah. Unlike the Babadook, which has a happy but uneasy ending.
Yeah.
This is just bleak.
But I can totally understand how, given how weird and ambiguous that ending is, you can come to some other weirder conclusions
Yeah.
of maybe what happened here. But that's the way I interpreted it,
No, that's the way I interpreted it as well.
given everything else that happened in the movie.
Yeah.
So if you actually continued into this part of the vlog after I said that I do not recommend this movie to someone who's dealing with suicidal ideation, that's why.
Yeah.
This is a movie where a character comes to the conclusion that for everyone, it's better off if they're not around.
Yeah.
It's really fucked up and it's
Yeah.
really dark and it's truly horrifying. And I definitely wouldn't watch this movie multiple times.
Yeah,
Because it would probably put some bad thoughts in my brain. But I don't think it was bad at executing its really dark, bleak.
Oh, no,
ending.
no. It was really good at doing this story.
So I understand why a lot of people watch this movie and were like, I don't like that.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
I don't like that.
Whatever it is, you can't say it ain't art. You
True,
know?
true. It is 100% art. Mm-hmm. It's definitely not going to be for everybody, though. Anyway, my fellow Gorehounds, like I said earlier, the movie's available on various streaming platforms. I do not recommend it if you are super suicidal yourself. Avoid it like the plague if you are. Trust me. And with that said, my fellow Gorehounds, where can they find you, Count Jacula?
Oh, you can find me here on YouTube, where I stream every weeknight at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
Y'all know me, I'm the Horror Guru. You can find me on various social media platforms, but these days, I primarily use Blue Sky, so follow me on there. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and don't forget to ring that notification bell so you're notified of my videos immediately upon their upload. And if you'd like to help out either of us more directly, be sure to check out our Patreon pages, and remember, if you decide to go the Patreon route, even $1 a month can go a long way, and we will certainly accept more. And with that said, my fellow Gorehounds, I want you to comment below. Be sure to comment below. Please comment below using the hashtag #FeelBadMovieOfTheYear. And with that said, my fellow Gorehounds, peace out, and we'll catch y'all later.